Salutations! I hope that everyone has had a great and smooth summer thus far. However, it's a new semester and it's a new word of the day. The word of the day is simply ear or ears. And typically, when a person thinks about the ears, we think about those things that are attached or coupled to the outside of our ear that acts as a funnel. And usually it's adorned with earrings or jewelry. And for those millennials, it's typically plugged with earbuds or headphones. Usually when we think of the ear, a lot of people's perception is that the ear is very boring or very uninteresting. Frazier, why do you like the ears? Boring body part. However, my job and my goal as an educator is to show the wonder and the beauty and the complexity of the ear or the hearing system to change everybody's perspective of this little thing that's outside on our head. So, to accomplish this goal, I'll start today with 2 did you know facts. 2 did you know facts to show the beauty and complexity of our ear, to show that it's anything, it can be described in a lot of ways, but anything besides boring. The first did you know fact is, did you know that our ears is called something as a transducer, or it transduces energies. And it actually transduces energies into 5 different forms. It starts with something called acoustical energy, which is achieved with the outer part of our head. It collects acoustical energy, funnels it, hits the eardrum, and from the eardrum, our tympanic membrane is transformed or transduced into mechanical energy. From the mechanical energy, it goes from the tympanic membrane, it moves those little bones or the ossicles, and then it reaches the inner ear. When it reaches the inner ear, that cochlea is fluid filled with endolymph and perilymph. And with those fluids, it changes to hydraulic energy. From the hydraulic energy, it exits the cochlea and then it enters with the vestibular cochlear nerve or the 8th cranial nerve. And from then, it's changed from electrical and lastly to chemical energy once it reaches its final destination, which is the primary auditory cortex located in the temporal area of our hemispheres, both left and right. The second did you know fact is going to lead with where we left off, the primary auditory cortex, or the last part where it reaches the brain. Did you know how complex our hearing system was? Once it leaves the cochlea or that inner ear, it then goes through several different processes inside of the brain by itself. It first starts with something called the cochlear nucleus. From the cochlear nucleus, the signal is then sent to the next process, which is the superior olivary complex. From the superior olivary complex, it then goes to something called the inferior colliculus. From the inferior colliculus, it then goes to something called the medial geniculate. And from that medial geniculate, it relays with the thalamus. And then lastly, it goes to the auditory cortex or the primary auditory cortex. And to make things even more complex, inside of the primary auditory cortex is tonotopically arranged, meaning that it's arranged similar to piano keys with lower frequencies on one part and then up, the higher frequencies are located at a different place. So the next time you think about your ears, I want you to think of its description as being anything but boring. It's beautifully designed, it's very complex and intricate, and it all boils down to being interpreted in our brain. Talk about a sense. I'm clearly biased, but of all the senses, hearing is the only sense that really never shuts off, and we still take it for granted. So hopefully you've learned something with the word of the day, ears, or ears. Have a great day.